organisms need energy. We talked about enzymes forever, it seemed like. We did like a little lab. We talked about how they're proteins, that they do all the work within a cell, right? And we use biological enzymes even in stuff like spray and wash. In cleaners, they put enzymes in them because they can break down one substrate, right? Just one substrate into different parts. But that's how we can get energy. Then we looked at ATP cycle. Okay, so where is ATP made in a eukaryotic cell?
No.
Protein maker.
Mitochondria.
Mitochondria. So we're going to talk about two processes today. One happens in the mitochondria. The other is what these plants are doing, utilizing light, photosynthesis. So that's what the carbon cycle is. Now, last period, I know y'all have learned the carbon cycle somewhere. Middle school, they were supposed to learn it last year in earth science, but it was funny how folks just didn't, it's like it didn't click or something. So we're going to talk about it and as far as what you need to know. All right. So the first thing is, let's take your yellow. It all starts with the sun. If the sun goes out tomorrow, there's no more carbon cycle. There'll be no more oxygen left after it's all used. There'll be no more food eventually for anybody. So photosynthesis, using the sunlight, is probably one of the most important things that we have on this planet. You have to have water, but that's huge. So take your yellow, or it could be a highlighter, and go ahead and highlight the sun. So it all starts with the sun, and we're going to highlight it here too. Okay? So once you highlight the sun, where's the sun going?
He's going around.
It is, but in the carbon cycle, where is it targeting? Where is it being captured? The tree. Okay, so what is the photosynthetic organ of a plant? What is responsible for capturing all that light? When you look outside, which cells? Which organ? What's the green part? The leaf is the organ. Y'all looked under the microscope at leaf cells and you saw chloroplasts inside each one of them. So take your green and we're just going to highlight the tree, because if we can't capture the sunlight, it doesn't matter if it's there or not. It's not going. There's going to be no photosynthesis. Okay, so highlight some leaves. I mean, you could shade them if you want to, but you know. And then we're going to label it autotroph, or we know it means producer. I would put the word that you don't know, that you don't know. If you don't know both of them, I'd put both words. So autotroph. So what process are we talking about first here? What did y'all just say? Photosynthesis. All right. Okay, so what else does photosynthesis need? We need light.
Oxygen. Carbon dioxide.
We need water.
Carbon dioxide and water. Okay, so
it
let's.
doesn't need oxygen? So that's the question I got right. I was like, oh snap. Because I was thinking real hard.
So think about, we need the oxygen, they need the CO2. So let's go ahead and let's take water. Let's highlight our water droplet. And what we're going to do is go down in the roots, because the roots are the not only anchors the plant, but it's going to help it uptake water by osmosis. And actually it uses, what do you think? It's got to literally pump the water all the way up to the tippy top of the plant. So do you think that would be, once the water's in, do you think that's passive transport, or do you think it's active transport?
Active.
It is. So these, I mean, literally, yes, because the water goes in by osmosis, but it has to be pumped. And that water, yeah, and what's opposing it? What force is pushing everything down? What keeps us on this earth? Gravity. So if we have to push water up against gravity, it's going to need to use some energy. All right, so what we're going to do, you can either draw Mickey Mouse little 3-dot waters, or you can just draw water droplets. Okay, it doesn't matter, but 6 of them. Yeah, so you could do like, you know how we said it looks like Mickey Mouse? You could do something like that. And we're going to say, show it coming into the plant. So 6 water. And we're just doing the coloring part, and then we're going to finish drawing the arrows when I actually do the notes up there. All right. These look like butterflies, but they're supposed to be apples. So that's what the red's for. Here's a red apple on this tree, and here's a red apple in this guy's hand.
Oh, that's what that was.
Yes, they look like
I
butterflies.
accidentally put my drink green, no cap.
All right. So far, we've got 6 waters coming in. We've got sun coming in. We're going to draw the gas coming in just a sec, and then we have the glucose. All right. Let's draw a blob. So draw your little blob over here, and we're going to write roadkill. It could be anything that's dead. It could be that mulch outside, but anything that's dead or a stick on the ground. And we're going to write decomposers on top of it. Because, so who are the major decomposers that return all this matter back to the earth?
Flies.
No.
Maggots.
Maggots can be. Who are the 2 major ones though? As far as animals go, they do it, earthworms.
Worms.
But who are the major ones?
Oh, bacteria.
Bacteria,
Oh, true.
And vultures.
fungus. You're right. Fungus.
Fungus.
So
sorry.
think of mold, mildew. So after a lot of rain, you see a bunch of mushrooms come pop up out of it seems like nowhere. And it's because they are there. The little spores are like seeds are in the soil, and that water causes them to grow, and they will eat whatever they grow on. So they're decomposing whatever's there. So that's why we're just writing decomposers. So make sure you put them in there.
There was like on my street, there's a dead bird, and it was there like last week. Now it's just black. Like,
So it's not just water. It's not just water. It is bacteria and fungus that gets on that thing and starts to break it down. Now, if it wasn't in the street, all those nutrients would go into the soil. Because think about it, matter recycles. That's why this is a cycle. Matter cycles, energy doesn't. Energy gets passed from one organism to the next.
Because energy can't be destroyed.
Right. You can just change its forms and use it until it dissipates its heat, and then you can't get it back. But matter recycles. So think about the water in you could have been in dinosaur pee.
what?
It could have been in a cloud a million years ago.
Oh man, that
Oh,
was
yeah,
a
that is
cloud
right.
a million years ago.
It could have been out in the ocean thousands and thousands of years ago.
What?
So it's pretty crazy if you think about how matter cycles between us and
That's
The non-living
parts. T-Rex a million years ago. That's
See,
not real
I'm
world.
thinking that that's one reason people think of like reincarnation, because it's kind of like I was somebody else in another life. Well, and some religions believe that, but it makes sense because of the matter that used to be in somebody else. It's the same matter that was here 4.6 billion years ago.
I remember.
So I see where people are coming from when they believe it.
Man, I wish that was real. I want to come back to the dog.
It's a spider.
Where?
Just move it.
No.
Right there
Bro,
behind.
why you scared of spiders, bro?
Just pluck it, Chastity.
Oh, that's one of them jumping ones.
There you go. Thank you. All right, so
Oh, it worked. I got the QR reader.
good. All right, so let's go ahead and draw this. So at the top where it says part 1, the carbon cycle.
Carbon cycle. This is
All
my
right,
favorite.
cycling carbon and oxygen. Sometimes it's called the carbon-oxygen cycle. Cycling carbon and oxygen between
Love carbon cycle.
the water, soil. If I just put atmos, y'all know that's atmosphere. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right, and organisms. By photosynthesis and respiration. All right, so they're going to ask the question. That's really the two processes that are most important. Now, if I learn if you look at your notes and you're just like, you can't really even see them, then we need to color code them or do something to make them stand out. So it wouldn't hurt just to underline those words. Okay, so that goes up top where it says carbon cycle, the little colon. So then after you get that, go to underneath the diagram where it said it involves. And you see the two process names again. Go write out the equation because y'all have to know the equation, which sounds, but once you learn one, you'll find out the other one is related to it. So you'll see. Okay. All right. So you already have this. It involves photosynthesis and then respiration. Oops. All right, y'all tell me when you're ready.
Some old people do say soul. They don't say soul. They say soul.
Yeah. Soul. All right, y'all see that at the bottom? All right, so your question on your exam, and it may be on the benchmark. We're going to try to make it as close to it as the EOC as possible. What we're going to do with your benchmark is we're going to grade it like the EOC with the sliding curve. Okay, so that way you know after you've taken it what level you are right now at, and we want everybody to get to 3 or higher. That's our goal.
What if we get a 5 right now?
So, so that means that you have mastered everything on that test for that part, right?
Today we might do nothing else while we're on that part.
Just means you're probably good to go. You're ready to move on to something new. Okay, so
Maybe have to go to the
they're gonna say, Mari, what you doing over there?
I'm getting some balls. Not like that.
I was gonna say, did you lose yours? Okay,
I did that.
all right. So let's they can ask you on your test, what are the 2 bioenergetic reactions that drive the carbon cycle? And you're going to be like, what? So let's write that down. 2 what's bio mean?
Life.
Life.
Biology.
Energetic. What is that? Another
Life
energy
something that I am.
reactions, chemical reactions. Well, they both.
Decomposition.
They both use energy, right? And here they are. So you're going to say photosynthesis, respiration. Okay. All right. So here we go. So the first one, what are the 3 reactants of photosynthesis? What has to go into that tree? 2 things you've already drawn.
Light.
All right. So I'm not even going to put the sun. I'm just going to put light because
That's what it is.
as far as the light source. All right. Light plus. What was the next thing?
A leaf. No.
Well, the sunlight's captured by the chloroplast, by the leaves. Okay, but then what else came up through the roots?
Water.
Water, how many?
6
So
waters.
it's a recipe. So we're going to put 6 waters.
6 waters. Hey, can I get 6 water droplets? Take up.
Yep. Plus, now it's time to add something else. So what is the gas that we give them?
Oh, CO2.
CO2. So let's put 6 CO2s.
Oh, yeah. They do turn CO2 into oxygen.
Some people be
How did I get that wrong?
hot.
Now hold.
6 CO2.
Okay. So if I had room, I would put the 2 products over here. Now this is where people will make a mistake on a test, is not knowing this next word. If I say the reactants, does that mean what's before the arrow or what's after the arrow?
After.
Before.
How about products?
After.
After. So
Right.
so I'm going to put here, if you don't know that the reactants are before the arrow, write that word right there. If you know it, then don't worry about it. But I'm not kidding. That's the kind of thing they're going to do. And you may know photosynthesis, but if you don't know that word, you'll get it wrong. Okay, so in the enzyme reaction, you have enzyme plus substrate, right? And then yields enzyme plus products. So the next is products. So what sugar is in that apple? Say it. Glucose. All right, so we have glucose.
All that
This would be here, okay? So 1 glucose. And you have to know the equation,
Choke.
okay? Choke.
6, 12, 6.
Yeah, and see how 6 is kind of the magic number. And how many oxygens? What do you think? What did I say was the magic number?
6.
There you go. So it's 6 oxygen.
I don't like the magic number being 6.
I know it's kind of weird, but
It's 3 of them. 6, 6, 6.
You can add them all up and you can get
Right.
666, 66.
Can you change that? Make one of them like 5. Change
Yeah,
that.
no, we can't.
the
always gonna be
one
the same
mixes
number?
it up. One mixes it for photosynthesis. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so go back to what I said about matter being recycled. So when you breathe out waste product, 6 CO2, look at that. That's imaginary 1. So 6 carbons. How many are in sugar?
1. Oh.
6.
All right. How many oxygen do you have?
1,
You have to multiply.
2, 4.
2 times
12.
1.
6 is 12. Look, so there's 6 there. There's 6 there. There's 12 there. Here's 6 there. So see that they balance out. How many hydrogen do you have?
2.
Times
6.
how many?
12.
Look right there.
Oh.
So when we breathe out, we're giving ourselves food. When it's combined with the water.
Be hungry.
Right.
Right.
It's weird though. I mean, they depend on us for our waste and we need theirs, which is oxygen. Okay, so let's add that to your diagram.
So why do you cut out so many trees?
Okay, we're going to talk about that. Good question. All right, so here's this. You already have, and y'all have a little, looks like a animal cracker giraffe.
You said
Ooh, has a weird booty. All right, and then here's a person, I think, in your diagram holding an apple.
Ooh. Look at that long neck horse.
We said this is decomposers.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and draw our CO2. So CO2 is coming from this guy's mouth,
Mm-hmm.
out here, from that giraffe, from these decomposers.
They need it too.
We're going outside to do it. All right, so how many more CO2s do we need to draw?
I mean,
How many? Look at your recipe. How many are needed?
Oh, so 6.
All right, so at this point, draw 2 more from wherever you have room, okay? So I'm just going to do it like this and this. So we've taken care of our CO2s. So what's the other gas?
Oxygen.
Oxygen. All right, so let me pause for a minute. Everybody has to get your 6 CO2s. You got those?
Oh, wait. We're argon too, right? Argon.
Make sure this guy's giving some.
Wait a minute. No.
Draft.
Wait, Miss
Decompose.
Don't they also contain argon? Don't they release argon, something like that?
They only release oxygen.
No, yeah, not for photosynthesis. Not at all.
It's some type of plant that releases argon, though, isn't it?
Well, that's
No, methane.
that thing.
Rice patties.
So what we learned about growing and drivers in.
Bro.
I mean,
Wait, so you want
Because it's driving under the influence.
right.
okay.
I just want to drive.
Right.
Alrighty, so far we have the 3 reactants of photosynthesis. So when we go outside, what we're going to do is we actually act out the carbon cycle. You're the molecules, I'm the molecules, and I'll narrate it the first time. Then we'll get 2 other narrators, and you'll switch roles. This is one way you can learn it, especially if you're kinesthetic. Okay, so we're going to let Nicholas be the guy over here with the apple. Okay, so he's going to be sitting there, and he's going to have the apple.
White apple.
So this is how it's going to work. The first thing we're going to say is that chlorophyll traps the sunlight. So whoever's the sun's going to shine.
Me.
And we've got chlorophyll in these leaves. Okay. So chlorophyll traps sunlight. Water comes up by what process? How does water move into cells? Osmosis, okay?
Yeah.
All right. When water comes in, sunlight splits it and releases what gas out?
Oxygen.
Oxygen. Let's draw the oxygen. All right. So let's give this guy some oxygen. If not green.
You can't get the sun oxygen though.
All right. Let's get wherever you wrote a CO2 in, do an oxygen out. Okay. That way we know we get 6 of them.
How much we gotta give out? 6.
6.
Yep.
Because we put 6 in, boy.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So make sure you got those 6 going the opposite direction of the CO2. Okay. So what else is made? We have the CO2 that's come in. Now we just made oxygen. And what's made in the apple?
What we made the apple?
Yep. What was that food?
Glucose.
Sugar, which is glucose. So let's label that little apple that you colored. And there was one on the tree. So C, y'all tell me, what is the equation?
6 CO2.
C6.
Oh yeah, C6
H what?
plus.
Nope, more than 6. 12.
There we go.
O,
There we go.
Why is H12?
6. So 6, 12, 6, that is glucose's chemical react, or that's their chemical formula. And you'll have to know that.
Why is H12?
Because that's how many hydrogen, when the glucose molecule is built, that's how the hydrogens are, that's how many are required.
Oh,
2, 6.
Okay? All right. Everybody good for photosynthesis?
yes.
All right. So then you see the respiration. So this is what all organisms do. So who does photosynthesis? Just plants?
Trees, plants.
Yes.
That's it.
Nope.
No,
Who else in the water?
Multicellular organism.
algae.
Algae. So again, if you don't remember that, I would do this. I would write, if you know autotrophs or plants, algae. All right. Respiration, all organisms. Even that plant has mitochondria. Bacteria. I mean, all organisms are going to undergo respiration. Okay. So what is this guy eating? And what is the giraffe eating? The leaves. What are they getting from that?
Nutrient.
All right. What's the food called?
Vitamins and
True. But what's the sugar?
Glucose.
Glucose. Okay. So respiration, we're going to say 1 glucose. All right. What gas is going into it? Oxygen. How many? 6. Yields. All right. What are you releasing as a waste? What were they releasing? CO2. How many?
6. So 6.
Zayden. Getting this? You're over there dancing. All right. What else are you releasing in your mouth, in your breath?
No, we don't release oxygen. We release the
CO2. And what's the moisture?
condensation.
Oh, H2O.
Yes. 6 H2O.
So why don't we write
Plus.
I'm slow, bro. She said what's the waste? I said condensation. I just realized that.
Oh man, god dang, bro, you slow, man.
That actually, this condensation is water. It's condensed. So 38 ATP. So where does the ATP cycle take place in your cells? What is the powerhouse? Mitochondria.
Yeah.
So this is all straight up in the mitochondria for eukaryotic organisms.
Too much equations.
Right.
But all right, so after you get both, I want you to look at this one and look at this one and tell me how they compare. And just look at them.
6 H2O.
That's insane.
Yeah.
What do you mean it's the same?
It's the same thing, but it's reversed.
You get a ring pop.
What about me?
Me. Wait, what you
Hey,
mean by reverse?
son.
What about me?
What do you mean by reverse?
No, give me 2 eyeballs. Both of them.
Oh, nothing.
I'm out of ring pop.
Nothing for me now.
You got a box.
Then let me around.
All right. So that was on our test. They said, what's the relationship between photosynthesis and respiration? And it said it is the reverse of each other.
What you
I
mean
got
by
that
What
right.
do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
Okay, tell me how you saw that. Tell Jaziel how you figured that out.
Because on the top, the second one, the second equation, go to the right one more. Up in the top right corner. Yeah. Right there it says 6CO2. And then on
Go
the
in. Okay.
on the next equation, 6CO2 is the first one.
Confusing.
Comes out.
Oh.
Water goes in, water comes out.
Okay.
Glucose comes out, glucose comes in. See how the oxygen, the only thing is we're not making light. We make ATP.
Right. We make energy.
So that's the only difference. Still energy and energy though, right? It's just different kind. Okay. Now you have something else over here on your diagram. What do you notice? This is in perfect balance. This is great.
We got a coal burning.
Okay. All right. So you got this number, some kind of little coal burning power plant. Do you see these little arrows that come up like that?
That's smoke.
Yeah.
When you burn fossil fuels, ever since the Industrial Revolution, and we started using other things for energy other than wood, we started using and horses and other things to move around.
Wind.
Me too.
Now we are using fossil fuels, and it releases extra CO2. Okay. So when they died and their bodies were compressed under all that heat and pressure, that's why crude oil is black. It's carbon. So then they take it out of the ground and they refine it and we use it.
So that's why that's why charcoal always be burning up that black
Yes.
smoke.
Yes, it's carbon.
I did not know that.
Heat and
Oh
pressure.
Yeah.
my God.
Oh my.
That's what ash is. Yeah. So if I burn this piece of paper, I'm releasing carbon dioxide too because it's carbon in this paper.
That's why I
It
turned
turned
black
black.
whenever I burnt paper yesterday. Yo.
Yo.
That-
Because my mama had some candles, but she was taking a bubble bath. I went in there, I was like, what are they gonna do? I was railroad.
He said, what's they gonna do?
Mr. Thornhill, he just admitted that he created arson.
All right. So over here,
How many years is it?
Nine.
6 to
I'm
10.
underage, I'm plugging in.
global
You look
warming.
Arsonist.
All right. We're not showing this part outside. We're just doing the carbon cycle here. This is how humans screw it up. Okay. So come over here. Make sure you put CO2 coming out of the smokestacks.
CO2.
And write global warming, but sometimes they don't use warming anymore. They use climate change.
Oh yeah, they.
Okay.
That.
I think it's more PC to use global climate change. But it's on
Warming.
record that
It's getting hot,
global temperature has increased.
and we're gonna get condensed.
We gonna die.
And it's
We
gonna
gonna burn.
explode.
I got a question.
It's gonna
Is
explode.
that estimating when the world's gonna blow up?
I don't want to.
Nah. It's gonna melt the polar ice caps though. That means.
And that is happening.
Oh, Antarctica about to be gone.
So this is-
That's sad.
So,
No.
Think about this.
So we live.
All right,
No,
so
animals.
if
And
the
then if you go to Antarctica,
You eat chicken.
come on, let her finish.
because you know if Antarctica gonna freeze, what's gonna happen to the rest of the world?
Okay, so when you have ice like that,
Sea level is gonna go up.
when the light comes in, what does the ice do to
No.
that? No. Now, if there's ice,
It spreads on
I'm not talking about heat. I'm just talking about the light. When the light hits it,
It reflects off.
it reflects. That's why you squint. But as it melts and the light with the heat comes in and hits the ocean's darker.
Mhm.
What does the ocean do with that light and heat?
Absorb it.
And it melts it even more. So it's called a positive feedback loop. An increase in one thing causes an increase in something else. That's the problem. Yeah.
It's over global warming, so that's why it's like getting
It's
hot
all
and
die.
melting. That's not
Oh,
good.
Why's it getting hot though?
Blood.
I'd rather get cold than hot. Okay.
Well, in some areas it's colder and other areas it's warmer. It's just changing your global, your climate. All right, who asked?
Man, I hope I
That
didn't
speaker
go
just sparked up.
when the hot age comes.
Me too.
That speaker just sparked up.
Who asked about deforestation a minute ago?
It was.
Oh,
Deforestation.
Okay, go over here. You see where the trees are cut down in your
Oh,
picture?
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Write deforestation. if you have room, because if we chop down the trees, what happens to your carbon dioxide level?
It goes, it rises.
Why?
Oh, because there's nothing to take in the carbon dioxide.
There you go. So think about these big trees, how much CO2 they can pull in. If you cut that down and don't replenish it, it's not going to take in as much. But I'll be honest with you, the oceans take in more than all the trees do because they're vast and they have all that algae, and the algae takes it up too. But still, it makes a difference, especially in these areas. Yeah. And think about all the habitats that go with it, and then the food sources, and so it's bad.
You gotta start fishing.
Is grass
Oh, water
plants?
will fish.
I don't
Of
know.
course.
How? They don't,
They're multicellular autotrophs.
but it ain't got nothing.
Photosynthetic. Yeah, they have the green grass. Those are the leaves,
Yeah.
photosynthetic organ.
Uh-huh.
Then you have the stem and the roots, and they make flowers. And that's the little tufty little seeds. That's what a seed is, a fruit.
I did not know
Grass seeds are fruit.
I didn't know grass had seeds.
You have to plant grass.
This
It was like,
Isn't it wild though? I know. All right, so I'm cutting this off, and I think it already did cut. Let's see, maybe it did cut off already.